Hey guys, Ice Please here, and today I'm going to be talking about the scuffed side of the TF2 community. See, has anyone else noticed the increase of the sodium count in TF2 over the last 2 to 3 years? Because I've seen a pretty noticeable increase within that time. And I'm not saying there was never bind spammers or BMers, as obviously there was, but more of an increase in that time. Because with this increase there comes many problems. As you see, TF2 is portrayed as a fun, random, and wacky game, so when players first join the game, they don't expect to see a sight of greasy bind keys and people screaming in their Walmart mics. This leads to new players being deterred from the game for a considerable amount of time, and maybe even not again. So it's bad to discourage new players because they are the new blood of TF2, and I am not saying that TF2 is dying, but I am saying it will die if we discourage the new players from the game. Maybe they don't make up a huge percentage of TF2's player base, but it's always nice to introduce new people into the community. Also, new players only really play in casual, which is most of the time their first experience with TF2, and if their first experience with TF2 is them being trash talked, I don't think it's likely that they would come back to the game. And trash talking isn't the sole reason for people possibly not joining back, but it definitely doesn't help. So it's far too often when I see people rage or BM towards new players in casual when they lose or when they see them making questionable plays. It's just not meant to be competitive, but to be fun and, in a way, an intro to the game. Now, it's perfectly fine to try in a casual match, and it's even understandable to get mad when you lose, but just remember that it is just in fact casual. Also, everyone who has ever played the game was new at one point, so you have to give some empathy that they would be bad. Now, I am not saying you have to treat all new players like special snowflakes, but at least spare them from pointless BM when the game outcome doesn't even matter. And a quick note on new players is that a free-to-play isn't always equal to a new player. Free-to-plays are just people who haven't decided to upgrade to premium yet. Now, it's understandable that the community would group free-to-plays into the category of a new player, as when players first join the game, they are in fact a free-to-play. But people who are experienced in the game and just decided not to upgrade to premium also get grouped into this category, which doesn't really make them all too happy. And you can even abuse the free-to-play bias by just putting on the gibbous and the pyrovision, and people will think that you are new. So I would just like to restate that a free-to-play isn't always to a new player, but in most cases is. But now let's talk about what possibly increased the amount of salt in TF2. Now, I personally think the big offender of this would be the Meet Your Match update by putting a more competitive narrative and system into TF2, making it seem less casual and more about winning. Now, I am not blaming the team for implementing this because they needed to do this for TF2's future, but they could have implemented this 100 times better. Like, they could have left quick play alone so that there is a good mixture of two sides, one being fun and the other being more, well, competitive. By leaving quick play alone, newer players wouldn't have to experience the more competitive players getting angry at them. And you might be asking, why was it bad making quick play into casual? Well, I'd like to use the term, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Quick Play's format was not needing a revamp as it was in just a fine state. Also, it didn't feel like winning was all too important without the badges and experience. Another thing they could have done better in the Meet Your Match update would be by making the competitive mode actually good so that the competitive players wouldn't have to go to casual in the first place. Now you can just say, well, why don't they just go into UGC or something? Which is a valid point, but I think it would be easier and more efficient for players to just have an in-game competitive, because if you take a look at CSGO, it has the company's version of competitive and the third-party / community's version of competitive. Besides the Meet Your Match update, I think it's just inevitable that the community would just get more toxic as time goes on. So now let's more talk about TF2's Toxicity Problem. People make TF2's community out to be one of the best in terms of its general users. Now, they are not that wrong when you compare TF2's fanbase to many other games, but TF2's fanbase is definitely not perfect, from the art thieves to generally overall shitty people. But really, any fanbase has those kinds of people, just the TF2 community is seen as spot-free of these people. As mentioned, I've personally seen an increase of these types of people, which slightly worries me, but in the end I can't control it but merely shine a light on it. So is there any way to fix the toxicity problem in TF2? Not really. I mean, I'm not gonna even suggest Valve be like League of Legends and gag/ban users for BM, as I think that's stupid and that people are entitled to what they can say. But you can kinda just have to hope that naturally these types of people calm down or disappear, which in the end probably won't happen, as TF2 is now more of a competitive game than casual with the Meet Your Match revamp. Not saying you still can't have fun or mess around like always in TF2, but now more than often you'll get criticized for it. And there comes the dilemma of TF2's marketing. As stated, TF2 is portrayed as a fun, random, and wacky game, and when these new players come in to have fun, they don't expect people to get so angry towards them, and then they'll think TF2 isn't the fun, random, wacky game they have been looking for. Now, with all of the salt out of the way, let's discuss how we keep players in the game longer. As of current, you have to go through multiple achievements to even get some of the weapons, and that can be demotivating as some are quick and easy to get, but others taking longer. My fixes for this would either to automatically start everyone off with all of the weapons. Pros to this is there being more content for new players, and that you wouldn't have to go through multiple achievements just to get some of the weapons. But the downsides being that it could possibly overwhelm new players, as some of the weapons do require some playtime to more understand them, and it could even lead to less overall playtime as you have nothing that you need to unlock or work towards. Another fix I have in mind is beginner contracts that give you a goal to complete, and when you complete that goal, you get a new weapon. Like for example, do a X amount of things as scout for a contract and you get the back scatter. So it promotes playtime and learning of a class and rewards you with a new mechanic, which leads to more interest. The only downside being that Valve would actually have to do something. And my last fix for keeping player interest is actually having an incentive to play either casual or competitive. Like at a certain point/level, you would get a random hat drop that would be untradeable. Now the pros to this is that there would be more players in competitive/casual, and that it would actually make it worth it to rank up and get the badges, because at its current state there is no upside to them besides bragging rights. But the downside to this is that the worry that it could break the economy even if the hats are untradeable. Now personally, if this incentive system was ever added, I don't think it would ruin the economy, because what is there to ruin at this point? So in summary, it is bad to discourage new players with BMing, as that is bad for TF2's future, and that you should just have fun in TF2, as that is what the game is meant to be for. Well, in casual anyways. Also, to re-clarify that free-to-plays aren't always new players, but just people that haven't decided to upgrade to premium yet. Also, as of current, TF2's achievement system isn't the best for keeping newer players interested into TF2, as some of the achievements may be a chore to work up to, so hopefully the team would possibly revamp that system in the future. And in the end, BMing isn't as big of an issue as this video is making it out to be, because TF2 is gaining newer players at an increasing rate. I just wanted to shine a light on TF2's issues to hopefully get a point across that there is the issue of discouraging the newer audience. But with all of that said, now is the time where I shamelessly self-promote myself. So, if you want unfrequent tweets from me, make sure to follow my Twitter at IceBlocks, and if you want to talk with me in my community, make sure to join my Discord. Also, feel free to add me on Steam if you want to, just make sure not to ask for items, as it does get annoying. But anyways, make sure to like the video if you liked it, and make sure to subscribe for more TF2 content. As always, stay fresh, my Freshies, peace.